Okay, Zane Anderson and Dre will both be out. Questionable will be Jaire Alexander, Rudy Ford, Eric Stokes, and Aaron Jones.
So was Aaron Jones' workload today any less than it had been this week?
No.
So he did do some stuff today.
Yeah.
Your line's intact. Do you feel good about them at least being close to their full capabilities?
Yeah.
How those guys look this week?
Good.
There's a long list of connections between the Raiders and the Packers, players, scouts, and coaches. But can you just give me a quick synopsis on two players and a coach, and what Evan has done here, Sean, and of course Rich Bisaccia, and what they've done for your team since they've arrived?
Were they on the Raiders?
At one time.
Okay. Yeah. No, all those guys. Yeah, they've been obviously made big time contributions for us. It's awesome to have a guy like Rich, who's, in my opinion, the best at what he does. And I think, quite frankly, personally, he should be a head coach in this league. And they decided not to do that, but they felt like it was in the best interest of them. So, we're lucky to have him here. And then, obviously, Dallin and Keyshawn and Sewell was there as well. Have all made big-time contributions for us in, Dallin mostly on teams, and then Key not only as a returner, but also, or as a flyer, but on the defense side of the ball as well. And then Sewell's come in here and has done some great things for us and has been a steady performer for a couple of years now.
You're playing one game in 23 days, which is kind of one of the screwier things ever. Did you do some of the stuff that you would normally do during a bye week during the mini bye? Just how does that affect going forward? I don't kind of jump ahead here a little bit, but.
Yeah, that's been something. Unfortunately, we've had a lot of, injuries, especially at some pretty important spots. So, we've kind of balanced the schedule as how we feel like to maximize and get the most out of the time spent. But it is a kind of a strange scenario.
Speaking of that, how is the chemistry on offense? Because like you said, you haven't, Christian missed a bunch of time, and so on and so on and so on. Obviously, it's something that would build, I would think, throughout a year.
Sure.
Do you get a chance to actually get any of that accomplished just because of all the moving parts?
Yeah, I think, anytime you have some youth, I think you're going to have some ups and downs, and we definitely have to perform more consistently, no matter who's in the lineup on offense. And it starts with just being locked in, dialed in. I think we've put ourselves in a lot of bad positions, with penalties, whether they're pre-snap penalties. We've gotten called for a bunch of holdings. So we've kind of put ourselves in some bad spots. So we just got to be more consistent. That's the only way I know how to state that. And it's not just one specific group, it's collectively as a whole.
With all the youth at receiver, how's the chemistry with them and Jordan? And are those guys typically in the right place at the right time, or is that all still kind of coming along?
Yeah, I think it's growing. It seems like, I feel like we've had one of our better weeks of practice. You could really see within the passing game, and hopefully that goes and translates on Monday night.
I asked Jordan, when does he feel most comfortable about if there's something that might go down the menu? It's like, I don't know about that one. And he says it's reps. It's like maybe you only had a chance to rep it 4 or 5 times, and he didn't have confidence. Is that what you see from this young quarterback, is when he's like, I don't know about that one?
Yeah, he hasn't done that a whole bunch, to be honest with you, and he's been awesome in that regard in terms of just trying to really trust in the plan and knowing that we're trying to put our team in the best position possible. And I wish I had a magic ball to forecast exactly what they're going to be in so we could dial it up perfect every time, and the reality is that's not always the case. And I think the reps are so important for all players, but specifically a guy that has to make a decision on every snap with the ball in his hands, because the more reps you get, you recognize when you get the looks, and then you need to make those automatic in terms of making sure that we hit where it needs to go, and then also recognizing when, hey, this is not the look we're looking for on this play. How do I survive a bad play and not make it worse? And I think that's where the reps are so valuable.
Did Jaire get enough reps this week that you got a good feel for where he's at?
Yeah, I think he did everything we asked him to do, and we'll see how he's feeling on Monday night.
Are you getting closer to a point where you could play Rashawn Gary more than what he's been doing? I mean, you in a place where he can go what he normally would, or are you still kind of,
I think we're closer to that point, yes.
what kind of impact could that have for you on defense? If you have
Well, yeah, I think he's a tremendous player. He's one of those guys that you have to account for from an offensive standpoint on every play, and I do think there's a lot of value in playing a lot of different rushers, and whether it's the interior D-line or the outside linebackers, just from a effort and physicality standpoint. Because Rashawn, you're going to get it every snap. He's going to throw it all out there and do his best and play with a high motor, and that's exactly he's a tone setter. So I do think it's rare that when you find a guy that can do it for 70 snaps a game. There's not too many of those guys out there. I think the one guy that comes to mind is Max Crosby, ironically enough, that we're playing. But it's just and just trying to get him in better football shape as we go. I think he's done a tremendous job. He's obviously had a great impact when he's been in the game, and so hopefully we can continue to add volume to his workload.